Hey folks, welcome back to $3 Theater, and today we're going to be talking about our friend, our favorite, the man, the myth, the legend, Quentin Tarantino, who is out there saying that Hollywood is now a show pony exercise, and he currently is condemning the state of the movie industry. And is he wrong? I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to say no, and I'm going to say no more like the lion's share of no more than yes. And I think the yes part of it has more to do with just like how things have shifted, how things have changed. And what you've got is almost like old man yells at cloud type syndrome. And it's not to say that I'm not trying to denigrate or attack Tarantino. This guy's a legend. Obviously, like we want to see his final film. We don't know when that's going to happen. He has talked about doing it. It was like that movie critic one, but now he's writing a play and he's going to wait for his son to get older before he directs his final movie. It's all a bunch of nonsense, in my opinion. Like, just go make movies, man. Like, just go make movies. You love them so much. You can get the financing. You can get the funding. Okay. Like, remember, Sony gave him $100 million for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they put that out in 2019. I think after he had beef with Universal or something over the Hateful Eight or whatever it was. And that went on to go make a ton of money and to win a bunch of awards and things like that. Like, it's Tarantino, right? It's not like your average run of the mill, like Gen Z millennial filmmaker type. This is the Gen Xer filmmaker. This is the guy. This is the dude that everybody just go make movies. I'm just going to keep saying that. I hate that argument of like, I'm only going to do one. Like, fuck you, man. Like, fuck you, Tarantino. Like, get your head out your ass. Okay. I say the same thing to Christopher Nolan about the ending of goddamn Interstellar. It's like, go back to work with your brother. All right. You're better together than you are separate. Although his work on Fallout was pretty amazing. Anyway, I don't want to get off topic here. I want to talk about Tarantino. So in this interview, Tarantino, he starts talking about the state of Hollywood. Okay. And I can't really read the full comments of it because it's scatterbrained Tarantino. But largely when he's talking about making movies, he asks the question, what the fuck is a movie now? Okay. He says what? Something that plays in theaters for a token release of 4 fucking weeks. And by the second week, you can watch it on television. I didn't get into all this for diminishing returns. And he's not wrong. Okay. Like filmmakers like Tarantino, they to them, the theater is their church. It is their sacred. That's their fucking Mecca. And that's where they want to be. That's where they want to live. That's where they want to stay. And that's where a lot of us want to be. We love the lights when they dim, the theater, the lights, the curtains pulling back, the screen lighting up and getting transported into another world for a couple of hours to just witness spectacle on celluloid. And we love all of that. That's why we talk about it all the time. That's why a lot of us will spend tons of money on movies all the time. And we want to go all the time because we love the way that it feels and we love all the stuff about it, right? So this idea of what the fuck is a movie now is goddamn bullshit. I'm going to say it's goddamn bullshit. What the fuck is a movie now? No. A movie is not your problem. Your problem is with the fucking industry. What the fuck is a movie? I don't know. Watch The Substance. That's a good fucking movie. What the fuck is a movie? I don't know. Watch Emilia Perez. It's a movie. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's a movie. Like what the fuck, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just, this comes across again. Old man yells at cloud. But his pain point is real. It's true. Okay. When he starts talking about the diminishing returns, that's what he's talking about, right? It's the shortened window experience. But then he goes on to say, it was bad enough in 97, which I think is when you had DVDs really kind of hit the market. Then he goes on to say that it was bad enough in 2019, and that was the last fucking year of movies. That was a shit deal as far as I was concerned. What does that even mean? He had a movie come out in the summer of 2019. It did really well in 2019. Like I said, it's Tarantino. The guy could fart on a snare drum and it'd probably be nominated for at least 5 Oscars. It doesn't matter. Like, I don't get any of that. But now he says it's gotten drastically worse, and that it's just a show pony exercise. Now the theatrical release, and then in 2 weeks you can watch it on the streamer, okay? And he starts talking about like theaters or like the final frontier or anything like that. It's really weird how he's going off about it, to be honest with you. But but this is Tarantino, and his train of thought is always like this, okay? But we can kind of parse out what he's saying here. What he's saying is that, like, yes, the theatrical release window is not great in regards to having exclusivity in theaters and then going to streaming. I mean, look, you had Sonic 3 and Nosferatu drop right before Christmas, or in Nosferatu's case, basically on Christmas. and those just hit digital the other day. Sonic has made $226 million domestic. I think Nosferatu has done around $100 million domestic. I don't even know their worldwide numbers at this point, so it doesn't even really matter. But they've done well enough, and now they're going to go on digital, and they're going to be able to be seen by more people on digital, who then might then go see it in theaters or so on and so forth. Either way, the model of releasing films on digital while they're still in theaters actually does do okay for some movies, right? Like Sing 2 went up against Avatar. It did really well. No, that didn't go up against Avatar. That went up against something else. I forget what it was. But like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish went up against Avatar 2, did very well in theaters, even though that did hit home video. But that was when people started sharing bits of it around on Twitter and on other parts of social media, which then got a lot more people interested in watching it. And the movie was then highly regarded because it is truly epic. It is really, really, really good. And then people just went to go see it. And that's the model now. That's the model. You've got streamers that have, that people that are constantly raising the prices, and people are going to start, cutting those down. Will that mean that they go back to movie theaters? Probably not, because the quality of the theatrical experience is not the greatest right now. It's really not. Yes, you got places like Regal investing, I think $1 billion, $2 billion, I think around $1 billion, in order to, spruce up their theaters to make them more more inviting for people who want like a relaxed premium experience. But then you start adding on like 4D, D-Box, what is it? Like IMAX, Cinemark XD, you've got 3, whatever, man, all of these different premium elements that largely don't do much to like add to the film, because all that shit's done in post. Some movies, Avatar, make it a big deal, but a lot of stuff like that is just simply done in post, and it's a marketing gimmick, and that's it. And then people are like, I don't want to go spend the money for this. Why would I go spend the money to go see a movie that is not going to give me the quality that I want? That's another factor as well. But part of that is not that the movies themselves are bad. It's that the movies themselves, there's just too fucking many of them. There's just too many. One of the reasons why, just as a quick aside, why we keep going back to these older films that we loved when we were kids was because our access to movies was limited. So we watched the same things a lot. Not only because we loved them, but that's because that's what we had access to. And because we had access to such a limited supply, we then like developed these very deep bonds with these films. Nowadays, you can just jump on Netflix and then you have like several thousand movies at your disposal any point in time, and it becomes this like, well, I don't know what to watch because holy shit, there's so many things for me to engage with here. I'm just going to get lost in the sauce on it, lost in the shuffle. Hulu's like that, Amazon is like that, Apple TV Plus is like that. All these companies are like that, man. That is exactly what they are. So Tarantino is not like wrong about like the theatrical like state of things, because there are issues with it. But then we look at it too. The price of movie tickets now is around $11. I thought it was $10.33. It went up to $11. You've got the price of concessions, the general like lack of advancement in theatrical experiences, the fact that some theaters you go to don't sound mix anything properly, so people have trouble understanding dialogue. That's even a big problem for home media with these TVs that have shitty ass speakers, so people are having trouble hearing everything, so they got to watch with subtitles, which is then like again going to take away from the theatrical experience, because there are no subtitles if it's not a foreign movie or it's not a film that has this very specific showing that has subtitles for people with hearing disabilities. So, I mean, like, all of these elements go into it. All of these elements are all there. And the thing is that Tarantino is like only focused on the one thing. He's only focused on the fucking theatrical. But what this guy doesn't realize, and maybe he does and he just doesn't care, but what I don't think he realizes is that so many people out there idolize him and love him, and they love what he does. They love the worlds he creates, the characters he creates, but they're going to watch it on the format that is most beneficial to them. Okay. Like, I understand it was Hateful Eight and I think Disney or whatever, they got him really mad about the 70 millimeter print for that movie. Right. But then they cut it down to a 4-hour TV show on Netflix. And apparently that's a lot better. A lot of people really enjoyed the 4-hour cut of the Hateful Eight versus the theatrical version of that movie. So it's like he talks about, what is this window? What is this? What is that? Okay, what is the streamer stuff? When one of his own movies did better on streaming because of the way that they cut it down for what could be seen as a streaming television experience. Tarantino just needs to pull his head out of his ass and realize that he is becoming the old man who yells at clouds. But that what that should mean, what that should do, what that would do to me, what that should do to anyone who has got any fucking iota of a creative cell in their body is to force them to adapt to the mediums and to surpass the mediums and to keep on telling stories, right? Right now he's working on a play. Good for him. I want to see it. But this idea, this nonsense, this bickering dog on a nail cry about how he's just got one more movie in him, I think is a load of shit. Robert Rodriguez, good or bad, will at least work on shit. All right? Like his kids' movies, his adult movies are better. Okay, but he at least works on stuff. Kevin Smith still continues to tell stories. They're cheaper. They're $4 or $5 million movies, but he tells them. These Gen X filmmakers, these indie, Richard Linklater's still working, right? Like the Hitman just came out on Netflix a few months ago. You don't see Linklater out there bitching, although he probably did. I'm just saying, it's like all of these filmmakers that were heroes to those of us who grew up in the early 90s. It's like they're all still working, with the exception of Tarantino, who was just croning on about how the industry is like moved away and it's shifted and everything else. Adapt or die, motherfucker. You know, and this nonsense about acting like it's just, I don't know, he's bitching. And it's making me mad. It's making me legitimately mad because of how much I love Tarantino. It's like, motherfucker, tell stories. That's all you got to do is just tell stories. That's what you love to do. That's you own a motherfucking movie theater. Run your movie goddamn nonstop. Okay, you own the New Bev, which is an awesome theater. The New Beverly Cinema in Los Angeles is an awesome theater. It's a one screen, 35 millimeter only. I've been there a few times when I lived in California, and it was awesome, and I loved it. And that's great, man. Do that all the time. I still look at the monthly schedule releases for what New Bev has, and I'm just like, damn it, I wish we had something like that near me. But we don't, and that's in LA, and that's what you do. But still tell stories, because at the end of the day, you're a storyteller. You're not a crotchety old ass man sitting on a porch wondering about, going on about the yesteryears, okay? Like, Jesus Christ, man, grow the fuck up. I think people need to tell Tarantino that as well. So do me a solid. If you guys made it this far in the video, type in grow the fuck up in the chat. Leave a like, subscribe if you want more content like this. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Thank you for watching, and peace out.